This morning I'm working on a traditional Irish platter. This one has been finish sanded and sitting on the shelf for 4 days, and it has soaked up all of the oil, and I do a wet sand, and it's been sanded down to 600 grit. And this morning what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of oil and wet sand it, running in reverse to remove the raised grain that happens after you apply the oil. So the first thing I do is just apply a light coat of oil and then use my sandpaper. And you can hear the grain just slightly raised there. And that should be nice and smooth. And we'll finish out by sanding with the grain all the way around. Sycamore turns out quite beautiful. I'm really impressed with this. This piece of wood laid on the log yard for about 2 years in a full log before it was sewn up into blanks, and then those were laying on the shelf and dried for quite a while, and then I've had them in my shop. I had 4 of them, and they've been laying there for about a year and a half. But as you can see, the grain is just quite beautiful. Okay, it's wiped off nice and dry. Now I'm going to apply the final finish to the platter. For my finish for this, since it's going to be a food grade platter, I'm going to be using beeswax and mineral oil. You can apply this with paper towels or just about anything. I like to use a piece of cut up chamois cloth. Good generous apply of finish, and then we'll turn on the lathe and run it at a higher speed and generate a little bit of heat, get a little friction going on there. And again, there's nothing else applied to this platter for color, dyes, or anything like that. It's just natural wood with nothing but mineral oil, and now some mineral oil and beeswax. Switch the lathe to the forward position. When you're running the lathe in reverse, be sure that you have a set screw or some type of locking mechanism to keep your chuck from screwing off of the lathe. You don't want it to screw off and throw it out on the floor, hit you, destroy your platter. And you can see that a little bit of a mirror reflection coming out of there as the friction starts to kind of melt the beeswax a little bit. Hopefully the camera's picking up the reflection of my hand. See a slight bit of wobble there after these things have set for a few days. They do tend to work slightly. This one is Only just a few millimeters thick, maybe 3/8 of an inch or a little less. Try to zoom in a little bit there and let you see that grain. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'll go ahead and take this off the lathe and let you look. The back has not been finished yet. I will be turning it around next and finishing that off. Turn it up where you can see how thin that is. It's just got a slight dish in it. Just concave just a little. You can hear how thin it is there. And you could actually flex it a little bit there on the edges. Don't want to do that too much. So we're ready to finish off the bottom now. 14-inch diameter Sycamore Irish platter.